Hello students, and welcome to the conclusion of our lesson on a function and its inverse. And let's look at this example that asks us to relate or dealing with relation between the derivative of a function and the derivative of its inverse. Okay? So here I'm going to give a property and also prove it. And incidentally, it isn't very difficult to prove this. So let's start out with some facts, okay? Let g of x be equal to the inverse of f of x. So let's say you have a function f of x and g is the inverse of f of x. So what we can do here is let's consider f of f inverse. So we know that this is in fact equal to x. This is one of the properties that we had before. So make a quick substitution. F of g of x is in fact equal to x. And now let's take the derivative and see what we can find about this. So on the right side, that's just 1. On the left side, it's f prime with respect to g of x times g prime of x. Okay. Then we will divide both sides by this quantity here, and we get that 1 over f prime with respect to g of x is equal to g prime. So the derivative of an inverse, remember that g here is really f inverse. I decided to just name it g so we don't mix up the -1 here with the apostrophe. But the derivative of the inverse is the reciprocal of the derivative of the original function composed with the inverse. Okay. So that's kind of a mouthful to say, but it's this is a good formula to commit to memory or to internalize and to understand a little bit about why this is in fact true. Alrighty, so let's look at some examples here. First, f of x is equal to the cube root of 3x minus 5. Find f inverse. I'm just going to do it down here. Number 1, this should be pretty straightforward. So the trick that we've always done in many ways is just say y is equal to the cube root of 3x minus 5, and now we're going to solve for x. So cube root, raise at both sides to the 3rd power, and then add 5 to both sides and divide by 3. So this is it, and then we can just rename this. We can just say f of x, f inverse of x is equal to x cubed plus 5 over 3. Okay, and you can check if you pass in some number into here for x, you get the output, and if you take that output and pass it into in here, you should get the original input. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at number 2. X squared. So y is equal to x squared minus 7, and we solve this by adding 7 to both sides and then taking the square root, and we get x is equal to the square root of y plus 7, or we can say f inverse is equal to the square root of x plus 7. Okay, but keep in mind there is a restriction. Okay. So this function here is not, this graph looks like this. So this is defined only for some cases. It's not defined for everything. So this is only defined when x is greater than or equal to -7. Okay. So this is the restriction of that function.